Very good afternoon to everyone. Today, on the second day of presentation semester 3, I, Trushali Dodia, going to make presentation on fictionalized narrative of history, a comparative study of midnight children with Bharat and Lal Singh Chaddha. These are my academic details. These are the points that I am going to discuss in my presentation. Let us first begin with the introduction of the novel Midnight Children itself, which was written by Salman Rushdie in 1981. The setting of this novel is first in India, then it is in Pakistan, and then in Bangladesh. And in this, Salim, the narrator, tells the story of his life to Padma, which includes major events in India's history, from like independence of India in 1947 to emergency by Indira Gandhi in 1977. And Salim connects his personal history with all these historical events. Uh, Now let's first look at Midnight Children as a historical fiction, because in this work major historical events of the time has been captured and it has been fictionalized. So Rushdie uses a fictional comment on the traumatic history of post-independent India. And T. and Dhar, in problematizing history with Rushdie in Midnight Children, says that the work of historiographic fiction offered the alternative recreation of the past or of repressed voices on the ones marginalized in available history. So this work talks about those people who are not talked about themselves, because during this traumatic post-independent India, post-independence time, each and every person's life were getting affected by this partition and all that traumatic events that happened that time. So and in this collective memory of people works a lot. And in this work also, the role of memory remains very vital. And throughout the narrative of this work, we see various missing links of Salim himself. So he's not getting, like, he's just telling the story. At a certain point, we as a reader realizes that there is something that he is missing out. uh, uh, in this Midnight Children, when Salim says that most of what matters in our lives takes place in our absence. So, sorry, but I seem to have found from somewhere the trick of filling the gaps in my knowledge, so that everything is in my hand down to the last detail. So he's just trying out to filling the gaps that is remaining in his memory. Dhar also quotes Karl Breker, who talks about history. He says that history is the memory of things said and done, but memory is not accurate. It is always inaccurate, because memory is one belong to one person, and it can differ from one and other person. And as this novel is written in the magic realism technique, which, according to Britannica, a narrative strategy that is characterized by the matter of fact inclusion of fantastic or mythical elements into seemingly realistic fiction. So in this novel, we can see that Salim, born on the stroke of 12 of the 15th of August 1947, on the day our India got independence, he is having the superpower to read people's thoughts, to like he can get what other people are thinking. So this magical power is also included in this. According to Rushdie, preserving past through memory can be called chutnification of history. Here, Salman Rushdie uses the word chutnification, and this chutnification is connected to pickle, because though the preservation is there, we are preserving pickle for a year and so far, but at the same time, it is not remaining in its natural form. It is getting distorted day by day. So, likewise, Salim's memory is also like this chutnification of history in itself. It leads to distortion. Salim also says that, in I quote, "In words and pickle, I have immortalized my memories, although distortion are inevitable in both the methods." I end quote. So he also includes this words and pickle, both the words. And when one person or one power is talking about any kind of historical elements, there will always be a kind of manipulation. It can be sometimes consciously done as well, and sometimes it can be done unconsciously as well. Srinivasa and Kalupur argues that it is impossible to know the history because nobody can claim to know everything correctly that happened in the past. And in the initial part of the novel, Adam Aziz is looking from this perforated sheet to his patient and his would-be wife, Nasim. So this can be seen in the character of Salim as well, because his narrative is he is looking from this perforated sheet. He's trying to combine the bits and pieces of all that things, and individual views are mostly concerned in this, because that matters when we are fictionalizing history, what people, individual people thinks about particular historical event. Now let us do the comparative study of Midnight Children, Bharat, and Lal Singh Chaddha. So all three novels are somewhat similar in depicting the historical events in fictional and in the fiction. So Midnight Children is a post-colonial novel which talks about magical realism with historical events, and it talks about the tells about the Salim Sinai, who born at the stroke of 12 of midnight on August 15, 1947, when India got independence. And he also talks about 1001 children who born at the same night, who are having the power that he is possessing. Now, Bharat is a movie which stresses the journey of Bharat Kumar across India's history from 1940s and to the 1910s. In this movie, Bharat, there is in the initial part there is this India's partition. Bharat and his family were living in Pakistan, and due to this partition of India and Pakistan after independence, they have to come here. The situation was very traumatic that time, because trains of like full of dead bodies were going and coming, and people were like sitting over the train to for their survival, and in which Bharat also loses his sister and his father. Well, Lal Singh Chaddha is Hindi adaptation of the movie Forrest Gump, and it narrates its titular figures, characters, backdrop of history. In this Lal Singh Chaddha, so many historical events are incorporated with his own life as well. uh, if we compare the narrative technique of all three works, there is a non-linear narrative technique which goes from like present to past, past to present. There is a continuous shift between past and present, and the narrative point of view remains first person. Salim, Bharat, and Lal Singh Chaddha, all three are the narrators. All three are telling their stories. Salim to Padma, Bharat to his family, Lal Singh Chaddha to the fellow passenger in the train. And this narrative seems problematic, and the narrator could be seen as unreliable narrator, because in Salim's narrative also we can find that he is not having that much thing in his mind. He is somewhat distracting, somewhat not having that gap in between. Lal Singh Chaddha is having low IQ power, so that is why, and their personal opinions matters a lot in this, and this is the charm of when historical fiction is created. In Midnight Children there is a magical realism, but on the other side, Bharat and Lal Singh Chaddha both are based on realistic experiences and personal experiences. On the other hand, uh, the manifestation of all the character development is like very same in all three stories. Like they are telling stories to others about themselves, that struggle of life, how they were in the historical this traumatic situation of India, the birth of Salim Sina and struggle of partition of India, because Salim went to Pakistan after the partition, and even the partition of Salim can be seen in different ways, because on his birth he was swarmed with Shiva by Mary Pereira. So there is a the partition of himself with his family as well is being there. and then this partition of India happens. Bharat talks about partition of India, Pakistan, same, and migration of himself to Pakistan to India and his struggle here. When Lal is growing up as a low IQ child, and it is incorporating various historical events like say Kargil war and other independent movement and other things. The death of our former prime minister of that time, Indira Gandhi. So all characters are suffering from the backdrop of historical events. Now, how historical events are getting represented in all three works. So, Rushdie, in his book Imaginary Homelands, himself asserts that history is always ambiguous. Facts are hard to establish, capable of being given many meanings. Reality is built on our prejudices, misconceptions, and ignorance, as well as our own perspective and knowledge. So, history cannot be like, if one person history is something, other one's would be different, because we all are having our different thought process, we are having different meanings and conceptions of particular point. So Rushdie talks about this ambiguousness of history, and it interweaves personal life with the historical event. And yeah, Midnight Children depicts independence of India, partition from independence in 1947 to emergency laid by Indira Gandhi in 1977, and Salim's narrative of Midnight Children is incorporated in within that frame, where he talks about his own story, how he has been suffered a lot throughout his life. Bharat, as I just mentioned, his is giving his point of view about partition and his personal perspective of India's history. Because at the end of the film, we will find that he is getting his his sister, Goody, at the end. So at the end, there is a kind of mila. They are the family who were like not there with that time, so they gathered at that place. Lal Singh Chaddha depicts various events like the assassination of Indira Gandhi, the Kargil War, the Anna Hazare hunger strike, Babri Masjid, backdrop of the historical, all the historical phenomenon, where it is important to note that the this assassination of Indira Gandhi affected the character of Lal Singh Chaddha a lot, that we'll see later on in this presentation as well. He also participated himself in this Kargil war, so he's also incorporated with that. And this Babri Masjid. And one more thing, when anything happens, as Lal is not having that high IQ power, he's a very low IQ power, it's mentally not good. So wherever anything happens, his mother tells that that do not go outside, and each time he says "Ma ke, ma keh rahi si that you will not have to go outside, घर के बाहर नहीं जाना है." So that's happened, and this is affects him a lot, this Babri Masjid and the assassination of Indira Gandhi as well. Now, identity remains the question while we fictionalizing this historical events. There is a kind of a complete amnesia of Salim came when the silver spittoon hits his head. So he is forgetting everything, but later on he's getting into that memory. And at this point also we can see that unreliability of his narrative, because he was like forget he forgot each and everything of his life, and then he later on come to know about that. Even the identity and this amnesia of Salim can be compared to India's citizens' amnesia towards the historic events as well. Identity crisis in can be seen in this Lal Singh Chaddha as well, because the murder of Indira Gandhi was done by two Sikh bodyguards, and at that time people were like killing all the Sikhs. So his mother, on the top right, you can see that his mother is cutting down his hair so that his identity cannot be revealed. then losing one identity, where a Bharat who comes from Pakistan to India loses his identity as Pakistan and is completely coming in a new zone. So identity crisis can be seen in all these things in this way. Now I will conclude my presentation with the Neil Langer's quote and about the storytelling shaping the collective memory of people, because memory plays a vital role, and we in storytelling also in the memory, because we are addicted to stories, and if the historical aspect is connected with incorporated with this fictionalization, so the connecting the dots comes, and we could like remember all the things in a better way. So yeah, there is some things that is being neglected, but though it is being done. Neely Langer says that memories are not just a stereo house of for facts, but a creative blend of fact and fiction that helps people tell meaningful stories about their life. So like memory is not just a storehouse, it is the like a blend of fact and fiction together. So people's own mindsets, own thoughts plus history are coming, and this all this three works bridges between the fiction and history together. There are multiple perspective of histories being depicted in the novel, and cinema is in both the films are like we are more to this visual mediums, because we can get the idea overall like things in a better way. So this cinema plays a very vital role in both the things, both the movies as well. And Weinstein Paul Weinstein in movies as the gateway to history, though it talks about more his like research thing about of students, but in the initial part it talks about that the fictionalization of history in film and or in literary work provides an insight, poses questions, and invites further inquiry to particular events as well. And it is empathetic. Empathetic towards the how people witnessed and understood and lived their life during that period. So all these things we the the story are very simple, narrating the history of the thing with the connection of their own story, but what they are saying, that's important, because they are telling their story which are unknown to others, because so many people have suffered during that historical period and their stories are getting untold. So this is how we can see the fictionalization of history in the all three works, novel and two films. These are the references. Thank you. Now I'm open for questions.
Tushali, can you share a key historical event from the novel which changed the life of Salim and other midnight children?
Yes, like when we are talking about this historical see in this novel various historical events are depicted, because this novel is this post independent novel, and the if we see from the beginning only the swamping of himself by Mary Pereira, why she has done it to like change the religion, Salim to Shiv and Shiv to Salim. So at a very birth, he is getting that kind of partition himself, and this can be connected to the partition of India. And throughout the life, he also suffers that thing. He has to go to Bangladesh as well, and then after he comes to the India. So this is it can be seen like this.
posted his main comment. Yesterday also, we had a couple of you posting it as main comment, so it was not reflected. I was then there to Pooja's question.
Drushali, how does the novel explore the concept of identity within the connect of historical change?
Historical change. So, as I've just mentioned this to Riddhi, that Salim's identity remains very ambiguous throughout his life. First, he is getting swarmed. He is now living with. He is the son of Matwold and Vanita, and then he is getting swarmed to this other Moses. He is living with him. So at this point, first point it is that because it historic change, because Mary Pereira wanted to uh, sh- uh, change the fortune of both the sons, both the children, and also in the throughout the novel, this identity crisis of Salim till the end, when his father come to know about his identity, there also conflicts happen at that time. So this is can be okay. Thank you so much.